Signal very, very clear, live feed, so it'll let us know when that minute's gonna start. And after that minute, we'll have our moderator, Saul Guy.
Your minute started.
The minute started?
Yeah.
Are you gonna let me know when we're finishing? Can you do it in a circle or just, okay, that's cool. One more time.
Hello, hello, world, beautiful people, boys and girls. We're live and direct from Standing Rock Sioux Reservation here, and we're in the Tribal Council chambers with a great group of people. My name is Saul Guy, and I'm very honored to be here to share a message and to really learn about what's been going on out here in Standing Rock, not only for the last 6 months, but what's been happening for years. The beauty of the community and the strength of the community and the people who've gathered from around the world to support to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline. The first thing I wanted to do was we've got a great group of people here, and I want to acknowledge Chairman Dave Archambault and the Tribal Council members who've joined us. And first, just so we know who's here, if we could just have everybody introduce themselves, maybe from my far right.
Hello, my name is Kendrick Eagle from Cannibal, North Dakota. And, I represent the youth from Standing Rock today.
I'm Ezra Miller. I'm a professional clown from New Jersey.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm Debbie Levin. I'm the president of the Environmental Media Association.
I'm Shailene Woodley. I'm Shailene Woodley. I'm just so honored and grateful to be here.
I'm Frances Fisher, actress, activist, and treasurer of the Environmental Media Association.
Oh, Wichasha Hanska Hemalo, Oho Wichasha, and Eo Slot the Hitcher. My name is Robert Takenalev. I'm a tribal council member from the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe.
Hello, my name is Cody Two Bears. I'm the tribal council member for the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe from the Cannonball community.
Dave Archambault, Standing Rock chairman.
Frank White Bull, Standing Rock Tribal Council.
Good morning. I'm Dolores Huerta, and I am from California, Bakersfield, California, and with the Dolores Huerta Foundation for Grassroots Organizing, and co-founder of United Farm Workers.
Saguli, Skanagoga, Ray Halber of the Gods. My name is Ray Halber. I represent the United Indian Nation, and I bring you greetings of peace to all gathered here from the people of the United Indian Nation.
I'm Julia Jones. I'm an actor from Boston, Massachusetts, and Choctaw and Chickasaw. I'm very happy to be here.
My name is Tokata Iron Eyes, and I'm from the Standing Rock Reservation. I represent the Standing Rock youth today.
My name is Rona Mitra. I am founder of One Halt Farm Kenya and Lost Dog, part-time actress, and soldier of the planet for now.
I'm Garrett Harrington. I'm from the Rock Creek district of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, and I represent the Standing Rock youth.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Before we get started, I want to ask Chairman Dave Archambault to provide some words for us around where we are and why we're here.
Well, I just want to welcome everybody for coming to Standing Rock. It's been a journey since I became the chairman and since we've been started fighting this pipeline. This whole event started with our youth. Our youth stood up, and I'm so glad that we have some of the councilmen here, because our council have always supported our youth. We've always maintained, and with the direction from not only our youth but from our elders and the spiritual leaders, that this is a peaceful and prayerful demonstration. We always look for the best way to combat something that isn't in the best interest of our people. And with prayer, we see a lot of things happening, and today is just another result of that. Whenever we put our minds and our hearts together, and we come together and unite with unity, we could do so much things, not just for Standing Rock, but for this planet. I just want to thank everybody for being here.
Thank you, Chairman Dave. Takata, I want to ask you a question. I remember we came out here, it was 6-7 months ago, and we asked you a really simple question about the importance of water. Can you tell us about the importance of water for you as a young person?
As a young person, the importance of water is very great and huge because everything needs water to live. From the plants to us human beings, everything needs it. It is the source of life. So just to know that this pipeline could be risking, taking the risk of ruining our water, it's kind of insane because everybody needs it, and so to have one human being saying that they want to take away another human being's right to that, it really hurts.
Absolutely. For me, the great privilege of coming to Standing Rock always is the ability for me to learn. Every time I come here, I learn from the young people, I learn from the elders, I learn from the land. And we've got some new visitors here, so I want to open it up to some of the visitors who are here. Perhaps you have some questions for the young people, because that seems to be the place where I learn the most. I'm going to put some of you guys on the spot, but if anyone has something to say, I would love for you to ask one of the young people about or share your experience. Anyone?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to hear from you guys because you guys have been fighting now for so long, and I know it's probably at this point it's starting to feel a little exhausting. I just want to know where you guys see this going, because it feels like this has now become something so much bigger, even than just this pipeline. It seems like there's a real possibility here to build a really powerful movement. So I guess I'm curious to hear from the youth, like what you guys see in the future. Tell me the future.
I was talking with Shailene and them in the car a little bit, and we was all just reflecting on how big of an impact this has made on the world, just this protest alone. And I think the positive stuff that's coming out of it is that we're all finally getting over the issues of race. You know, we're finally getting over the issues of separatism. You know, we're just, everything's separate. Oh, it's your problem over here, so you deal with it. You know, we're coming together as a human race, and we're doing something we're fighting for a necessity that, you know, it's really crazy that we really have to fight for it, to be honest with you. But what I see out of it is there's more unity, everyone's gonna stand together after this, and it's an awesome experience.
Anyone else have anything to add, or any other questions? If you guys don't start asking them, I'll start asking them. I'm fine, I got a lot.
I also just sort of to follow up with that. Do you feel, has this made you feel more hopeful or more scared overall, this whole process?
It's really been, it made me very hopeful because so many people came together. Like, honestly, I remember just like 1 week, we had first come out to the camp and barely anybody was there. And we were like, okay. And then we came back a couple of days later and it was like filled. And it was just so beautiful, and I was so grateful to see everybody there because it really makes you feel good to see people coming together like that, especially for the cause that you're fighting for. To see that so many other people care about what you care about. and they are there to support you and help you in your fight. So that was just really beautiful, and I'm so glad that so many people came.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I would love to ask any of you here, it feels like a very young response to something, and obviously everyone here is attention is always about children, their children, on and on and on. And so this is such an issue that has united you in so many amazing ways, to your point. Who do you think is really listening, and who do you think you're speaking to in the world through social media and through all the press that you're getting, and more that we want to help you get? But do you think it's the millennial generation that's really keeping this as strong? I'm just wondering where your voice is, you think that it's affecting outside of your community. Who wants it?
I think it's affecting more of the youth because, sorry, this mic is weird. And to think about it, I think more of the youth are more involved. I mean, and they're getting it out there because we're we deal with the Facebook, we're familiar with it, we're up to date with the social medias and everything, and I'm hoping that this gets out there, I hope the president's actually seeing this. And we got some, some well-known actors here, and I hope a lot of, more actors get involved with this, and I really do hope, President Barack would step in now, and I'm sure he can. Obviously, there's a lot of cameras here and everything today, and I hope that he sees this and sees us fighting for this, and I hope he stands with us.
Now, some of the kids here, some of the youth, you guys met with Obama when he visited, right? And a couple times, you had a couple meetings with him. Can any of you speak to what that feels like? Because it seemed like at the time he was, expressing great interest in your guys' grievances. And then I know, you want to speak to that? Anyone?
Yeah, to meet him personally, and me and Garrett and I met him personally, and to he's a really great down to earth guy, and I really respect him as a person, and and I know he's a very busy guy, and obviously he's the president, he has to deal with the whole country, and to have met him, it's really a great opportunity, and to have him, to know him. I think I know him, after I spent all them hours with him, talking with him and stuff, and I, have him, he said, I quote this, he said that as long as he's in office, he will stand with us, he'll be here with us, with as long as he's in office, and he said he would help us with anything, and I think now is the time that we need him more than ever, and I hope that he can step in and for a guy that met him, for a young guy that met him, and I really just hope that he comes and steps up and stands with us with this fight. So.
Here.
Yes. Do you have something to add?
Yes. The tribal council, we went on record, I think it was back in May, maybe sometime, when you're a tribal council, you times go fast, so. But we went on record to recognize Unchi Maka, or Ina Maka, Mother Earth. We recognize that she has rights, and we went. We hope that that goes out to the country to know that she's a living being. Now, with that said, and I'll get the resolutions the resolution to you guys, the youth. And, you know, as tribal council, we build a foundation like our grandfathers up there in the walls have built for us. But you have to make your own path based off of those foundations, those values, goals, and challenge you to look at that resolution, because you guys are the ones that are gonna make that happen, continue. You know, as Chairman has stated, the council has stated, you know, protect the water, protect the sacred sites, protect the children and their future. So those things like that have come forward. So I guess that's, when I say challenge, it's not a, meaning, you know, anything that's gonna, it's a good challenge. So that's all I have to say. It's not really a question or anything, but I'll get the resolution and pass it out. I'll get some copies made for this, this body here.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's a really important thing that I've always learned in the time I've been able to spend here around the, you know, the sentientness of Mother Nature, and that she is alive, and it's something that people are beginning to understand, not as myth, but as truth. And I wanted to ask, share with young people, what does it mean when you say sacred places? When it's one of the things that you're sharing, and the chairman's sharing, that protecting these sacred sites. And we hear a lot of that in the news, and we know that people are going to the front lines to protect these. But what does that actually mean? Tell us. If one of you guys could answer that question, I think it would be great.
That's something I kind of reflect on a lot. You know, when my family, my relatives, when they say, you know, this land is sacred, you know, our bodies are sacred, or, you know, our relationships are sacred. The way I interpret it is that there's a lot of backstory behind what they're talking about. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of meaning. So when they say that something is sacred, they mean that it has a lot of meaning to them. It's how they live, it's how they breathe. It's similar to how you love your family. You know, it's that kind of bond with that sacredness. And when we say that, you know, the land is sacred to us, it means a lot to us. The water means a lot to us. It's sacred to us. And, you know, just on another note, you know, when something's sacred to somebody, you don't go messing with it. You know, you let them be happy with it. You know, you let them live their life. You let them be happy. But that's just what my reflection on what you were just talking about.
That's an incredible reflection and something we could all learn from. Thank you. A couple more questions as we're getting ready to wrap up. I want to recognize that Dolores Huerta is here. Phenomenal woman who's done incredible things for all of us. And as someone, as a esteemed elder, and someone who's been in this fight your whole life and been so successful and literally changed the course of history, it's an honor to have you with us. And I want to ask you if you see any parallels between the movements that you've been a part of, United Farm Workers, and these, the things that you did to change history and what's happening here in Standing Rock.
Well, first of all, organizing it into action. And this was, of course, we know this is what we're going to need now in this new phase of history that we are entering in. And it's so fitting, and I do know that Native peoples are going to lead this new peace movement that we are entering in. And it's a movement of peace and justice, and trying to finish up the work of the 60s with our civil rights movement, our green movement, our women's movement, our LGBT movement, our immigrant rights movement. But more than that, I think it's going to be bringing other issues, the whole issue of climate change. You know, the green movement started back in the 60s and the 70s, but it's really not only really begun to take hold when people are visually feeling and seeing what the effects of climate change are to our world.
Doesn't. So if you feel inclined to write a letter, that's very powerful as well. So divesting, right? There's a lot of us who are watching right now who aren't able to come to Standing Rock. It's not feasible for everybody's life paths and lifestyles. But something that we have to start recognizing is that when we make a decision, every single morning we wake up and we make a choice. When we put our money into something, when we buy something, when we purchase something. And so becoming conscious of different products that we invest in is something to pay attention to, as far as if those companies are affiliated with Dakota Access LLC. But also these major banks, Citibank, Chase Bank, Bank of America, every major bank, we're doing a movement surrounding using the hashtag bank exit. So if you have your money in these banks have funded the Dakota Access Pipeline. And actually yesterday we found out that the biggest bank in Norway that had invested in Dakota Access Pipeline pulled out. That's huge. And it's because the pressure of the citizens, the pressure of the people on the ground to say to their representatives at this bank that they did not agree with the integrity of the decisions that these CEOs were making. So there's a lot of power that we have in our hands, but we have to demand that. And so if you go into your bank and you film yourself using the hashtag bank exit and use it on social media, tell your banker on camera that you are temporarily removing your funds from their bank until they divest from the Dakota Access Pipeline, and you can put your money in a federal credit union. And if enough of us do that, a real impact can happen. It's a lot easier to watch this and to be like, wow, that's so great that we're all gathered here at Standing Rock. But it's one thing to talk about action and talk about change, and it's another thing to commit to it. And it's scary and it's uncomfortable, but if we all commit, then it's not, because you're not alone in this fight, we're all in it together. So if you have your money in any of these big corporate banks, I do encourage you and empower you to think about it. Think about removing it, filming it, and doing it with peace, and explaining to your banker about the Dakota Access Pipeline, because you don't know what you might waken up in them as an employee to this corporation. So yeah, please use the hashtag bank. Is there a website that
For the divest?
Yeah.
I don't think there is a website right now, but I would like to add to that we will create one immediately and link everybody together. But the fact that the Bank of Norway is at 10%, which is an incredible amount that they pulled out of the funding for this pipeline. And that's a big hit, and that's also in Europe, which means that your voice is definitely going where you needed it to go, and we will obviously continue with that. There are a few investment companies that have already been able to vet their clients and have not been involved with anything even remotely like this. Calvert Investments, if you look that up, and they have a website, they absolutely only do responsible, socially responsible environmental investing. And so I think that as the consumer, essentially, what Shay was saying, we buy stuff every day, and you're also buying who's going to take care of your funds. And we need to make these choices. We need to not just blindly put money in a retirement account or whatever account you're using, but you need to be responsible for your responsible investing. And the more we do that, the more they won't have the funds, because no one's going to work with them to do things like this pipeline. And just so this young generation and the millennial generation and the celebrities that we work with have so much power to get this information out, and very clearly, so that people understand exactly what the actions are and what every individual can do.
Well, thank you, everybody. I want to, we're going to come back in about 15 minutes with a smaller group, but more importantly, we're also going to go and meet the young people at the camp and for a rally today, and to just learn more. So the purpose of this was to learn, and I always learn when I get to come here. So thank you, everybody, and thank you for everybody and recognizing everybody in the room, and thank you to the chairman of the Tribal Council for having us in their home. And I'm honored to be here amongst friends and family, and to the people of the world who have been supporting this. It's phenomenal, and it's a place we can all put our energy in times of radical change. It's time to step up. So thank you all, and stay tuned for much more. And give everybody a round of applause for joining us. And my last announcement is, could we gather this group together before we disperse for some photos, please? If we could maybe just gather around here. And thank you guys so much. That was amazing.
Yes.